long ways.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Training for half?
I'm gonna have in February.
What's a half? 5?
13.1.
Oh, man.
You're crazy.
Where's that at?
Las Vegas.
Oh, cool. Good for you. Good for you.
I head up there. I booked my room.
Boy, hats off to you. That's accomplishment.
Yeah.
You want to lead us in the pledge? You want to lead us in the pledge?
Sure.
Jennifer gone?
She's coming back on a contract. She's gone for a month.
I was gonna say.
She'll be back at the end of January.
Lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Seems like it's been a while since we've met. Proceed, if we could get a motion to approve our minutes.
Chairman Mack, I'll make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes and work sessions on December 16th, 2024.
And I'll second our board member Howard's motion.
Okay, can we get a vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can we get a motion to approve our demands and hand written warrants?
Chairman, I've reviewed the vendor invoice summary for December. Find it to be in order and would recommend that we go ahead and approve the payment of these invoices and warrants.
And I will second that.
Get a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right, next we will have Scott Bennett.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
Morning.
Excited to be back for a brand new year. So, what we have on the agenda today from the County Attorney's Office is a request to extend the contract that has previously been in place with legal assistant Debbie Barnes. As you're all very well aware, Ms. Barnes retired several months ago. We brought her on as a consultant and to basically not only help with training, but just kind of as a fill-in legal assistant. As I'm sure the board is aware, we set a new record for felony filings last year, which broke the record we set the year before. And I'm getting real nervous. I'm going to be saying the exact same thing in January of 2026. We just have very, very active law enforcement who's doing a wonderful job in keeping us very safe. But the net result is a lot more cases for us to prosecute, which is a good thing. I think we're helping people, and like I said, we have tremendous law enforcement that are keeping us safe. That being said, we have several new people in our office filling legal assistant roles, and again, more cases than we've ever had. So we're requesting permission to extend Debbie's contract, or Ms. Barnes' contract. We'd like to go ahead and take her through the end of the fiscal year. I suspect as we go through budget hearings, we reevaluate the needs of our office, we'll hopefully be able to come up with a very permanent solution. But that being said, for the next 6 months, we're hoping that we can continue to contract with Debbie.
You. Any questions?
I think Debbie is a great asset, and you definitely need the help with her in there. Her knowledge is very extensive. She's been with us forever, so I have no problem approving this.
And Attorney Bennett, my question regards the budget, and do you currently have a sufficient budget to go ahead and pay her contract without going into the general fund?
Well, I believe this is coming out of the attorney fund from the general fund.
Okay.
I spoke with Mr. Welker, and after looking at the numbers, I think we should be in good shape for the end of the fiscal year. As you know, we've been down an attorney, and we I think have banked a little bit of money by having a lot of extra hours and overtime work by our current attorney staff. So it's my belief that we should be okay with the amount of money we have.
Very good.
Great. We get a motion?
I make a motion to approve the agreement between Graham County and Debbie Barnes for contract legal assistance service.
I'll second that motion.
Then we get a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right.
Thank you so much. Again, Happy New Year.
Thank you.
And I'll turn the time over to Cindy Orr.
Good morning. Today we have 4 offers for tax deed parcels. We had our annual tax deed auction last month, and we received 2 offers at the auction, as well as we received offers for 2 over-the-counter parcels. These offers include the minimum required to fulfill the obligation for the past due taxes, as well as the fees to do the foreclosures.
I just thank you again, Cindy, for the work you do, for recouping us money for the county and getting it off of our records. I really appreciate the work you do.
Thank you.
I'm in full agreement with Board Member Howard, and it's great to get it cleaned up. I'll go ahead and make a motion then that we approve the over-the-counter tax deed sale for parcels 109-79-042, 042, 103-32, 029, 109-59-003, and 105-04007.
And I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
welcome.
Appreciate you. We'll now turn the time over to Mr. Wyatt Palmer.
Anna Elders is representing
Oh, sorry.
Wyatt today.
Go ahead.
And Mindy, looks like.
Good morning. I'm here requesting for Graham County Justice Court approval of Justice of the Peace Pro Tempore Mary Aiden for a 12-month period beginning on January 1st, 2025. The judicial powers and duties of a Justice of the Peace Pro Tempore are the same as those of a duly elected Justice of the Peace. These powers extend beyond the Pro Tempore's appointment period to allow for the hearing or resolution of any proceedings necessary for the final determination of a case. Judge Aiden is unpaid. They have an agreement that Judge Palmer would sit in for her when he needs to, and she sits in for him when she needs to.
Any questions?
I have no questions.
I had one question, and that is Judge Aiden, is she from out of town?
No, Judge Aiden is the judge at the municipal court at the Gila Valley Consolidated Court.
Okay, so there's no travel expenses?
No, sir.
Okay, very good. Well, I was just concerned about getting her reimbursed if she had travel expenses, so.
No, she just walks over.
Okay, very good.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve Justice of the Peace Pro Temp Mary Aiden for 12-month period beginning January 1, 2025.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much. Now we'll have Michael Peterson. Mindy, I'm sorry.
Good morning.
I am also here seeking approval of Graham County Superior Court Judge Pro Tem appointments for Superior Court fiscal year 25-26. We've got Judge Ragland, we have a judge named Jerry Landau, and we have William Richardson. Judge Ragland, as you know, is a paid, full-time paid appointee. Jerry Landau is unpaid. He does receive travel reimbursement, and William Richardson is unpaid, and he receives travel reimbursement. This is just a formality because the documentation is due to the state in March, so.
Great, thank you, Mindy. Any questions?
No questions.
No, it's hard to believe anyone's working for free anymore. And I know Bill Richardson grew up with him, so that's a great arrangement. Don't know how you pull it off, but that's a great arrangement, and I'll make a motion that we approve it, the pro tem appointments of our paid Judge Ragland and then our volunteer judges Landau and Richardson.
And I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Mindy, appreciate it. And I'll turn the time over to Michael Bryce with the engineering department.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dustin, we're looking to, for approval to accept quitclaim right deed from Tracy J. Monteith and Terry L. Monteith and R.A. Monteith Enterprises for a right-of-way along Monteith Road. They were doing a land split there, and while they were doing the surveying, they went ahead and created a deed to deed us part of Monteith Road, Monteith Lane.
Thank you, Mr. Bryce. Questions?
Just gotta love the right of ways. When we get right of ways, we certainly benefit from them.
I'll go ahead and make a motion. I'm in complete approval and appreciate the efforts and the altruism of the Monteers, and I'll go ahead and move that we approve the quitclaim deed from the Monteers for a right-of-way parcel 1031301F.
And I will
017F, thank you.
and I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the second is looking for approval to accept a quitclaim deed from, which is on Powerline Road from Kent and Rose Larson. That's in preparation to try to get Powerline Road chip sealed in the spring. Hopefully we can continue to get right away.
Certainly appreciate you, Michael, for the work you do on this stuff and your persistence on getting right-of-ways for us to do that. That project especially is going to be very beneficial to the whole community, I believe. So I just want to give you gratitude for doing the work you do on that. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Supervisor David.
I'll go. You okay? I'll go
Yeah.
ahead and make a motion to approve the quitclaim deed for APN 106-06-016D. Quitclaim deed for APN 106-06-016F from Kenton Rose Larson right away. Power line.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bryce. I'll turn the time over to Mr. Douglas from the Health Department.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
We're seeking approval for the Access Inmate Hospitalization, IGA. Our detention center medical unit, we currently have an IGA with Access to help pay for inmate hospitalization. And this agreement limits inmate hospitalizations to cost no more than $10,000 per incident. And Access does charge us an annual fee of $6,670 per year for this. And we're just seeking approval for this IGA.
And, go ahead.
No, I have no comment.
Mr. Chairman, I had a question, and that is, this, our Graham County's liability or our responsibility is capped after $10,000, is that correct?
Per incident, yes.
Per incident, and then who, does that include any transport, or is that just hospitalization?
That's just the hospitalization, and I believe if there's any transport involved that, you know, with ambulance or air or anything of that sort, is part of that,
Okay.
is included in that.
And is this just a renewal, or
It's just a
are there
renewal.
changes?
It's just, an increase in their annual fee, but
Okay.
everything else remains the same.
Very good. It's a great safety net for us. You know, it doesn't take very long. With you know, even with complete respect for the hospital, it doesn't take long to get $10,000 worth of services there. So, no, I'm in. It's prudent. It's wise. Let's do it. I'll go ahead. Did you have a comment?
No, I'm fine.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we do approve the access inmate hospitalization IGA.
I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate you. Now we'll take this opportunity for members of the board and county manager to present a brief summary of what they've been doing the last couple of weeks, and turn the time over to Manager Welker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. With our plan and zoning agenda coming up, I will be brief. I just wanted to report we're halfway through the fiscal year. From a budget point of view, we're in a good position. We're under on our expenses and over on our revenue, so that's always a good place to be. We do have some large projects that are either already in the works, or we'll still be doing these last 6 months that will certainly be paying down some of those expenses. But overall, from the county point of view, we're in a strong position, and the state is as well. So as the legislators enter into their session, they're in a good financial position, which is a good place to at least start. Speaking of them, we had the opportunity on Friday morning to have a breakfast over at EAC, and most of the board was there. We appreciate that. We had an opportunity to hear from Senator Gowan and Representative Diaz and Griffin, and we heard some good positive things, and we continue to have a good working relationship with them, which is positive. As we enter January, on January 15th, we'll have a meeting with all of our legislators down at CSA. They'll be invited to come, and the 15th and 16th will kind of be the kickoff to this legislative session. And as we already know, they're already very active and pushing bills and talking about a lot of plans going into this new year. Just a couple updates on some of our projects. The walk-in jail freezer cooler over at the jail, that project is scheduled to begin on January 20th. The project over at the Common Sense building, which was tearing out that concrete floor, our park staff did a very good job of tearing that out, doing a lot of the work in-house. That is currently out to bid. Quotes are due on January 16th to complete that project, and the due date on that is the end of February to finish. Our parks crew has also began on the Field 3 lights. They've trenched and put down conduit to replace all the direct burial lines that were placed in there, I don't know, 30, 40 plus years ago. So that project is underway, and we'll soon put that out to bid to an electrical contractor. We had a fun end of the year. I want to thank everyone that participated in our light parade float. This has become a tradition for us the last 5 years in building a float. And I want to thank the departments that contributed the labor to do that, and we're able to get first place again. So that was fun. But it turned out really well, and thank you, department heads and elected officials that donated your employees for that time. It was great. We had anywhere between 10 or 15 working on it, and we pretty much did it in three different sessions of 3 hours each, so it went well. We have quite a bit to talk about in our work session today, dealing with the parks and highways and roads and all that, and I'll save those conversations for that meeting. So that's my report for now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Welker. Supervisor Howard?
Yeah, I'll be real brief. I wanted to mention the meeting we had on Friday morning, the breakfast down at the college with our legislators. I'm very excited about this next year, coming up. All the kickoff will start, like you said, next week, but I think we're going to have a good year for the state of Arizona this year with the way things are set up. I'm excited about it. Just we pick up the check today for our light parade. We need somebody there to pick it up. So at 4 o'clock today, we get that. So I appreciate everybody on the light parade. I'm the chairman of that parade, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger every year. The public loves it, and participation's amazing. So I hope everybody had a great holidays, and let's get into this new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Supervisor David?
Thank you, Chairman. Following our last Board of Supervisors meeting, that afternoon there was a Rural Transportation Advocacy Council meeting. We wrapped up the year, planned for the new year, some legislative requests for both design money, SMART funding, which our county will apply for, as well as priority projects, and trying to get some funding from the legislature. I brought this up at the last of Friday's morning's meeting with our legislative representatives, and that is that the Senate doesn't have a transportation committee this year, and so we see an uphill struggle with getting transportation funding, and our only hope, I think, is an appropriation, and fortunately, Representative Diaz is on the Appropriations Committee, so we might be able to get some much needed transportation funding. The following day, I met with, independently, along with the Supervisor Howard, with Skip Hewlett, who is talking about the sale of some of the currently unused and just idle greenhouses, which would be a benefit for our county as far as the tax base. There's additional interest in some of those other idle greenhouses, and I guess the only concern now is whether they can get water with the new active management area that's been designated for that. So that we'll hear more about that later. But that's positive, and it's great for both for jobs and for tax base and for food security. They'll be growing tomatoes and other produce. The 23rd, there was a point in time count meeting. The local committee to end homelessness in the state will be going out and looking both on the reservation and here in Graham County for people who are currently homeless or living in homes that are without utilities and would be technically they're homeless, and that outcome will then, if we went from 0 the previous year, which was underreported, to nearly 50 last year. It's no badge of honor to keep getting bigger and bigger numbers, but that seems to be the economy seems to be pushing more and more people out of homes. So we think that we'll see more counted this year as far as homeless, and we, in addition to being aware of the problem, then we also then look for resources for taking care of that. And then finally, attended the funeral service on behalf of the county for Katie Klontz, who was Greenlee County, a part of their county government for generations, and paid our respects to that family. And that's my report, Mr. Chairman. And then I would go ahead and before your report, I would ask that we consider, because we have these a half a dozen hearings, that we might consider moving the call to the public up next so that the Brianna DeRusha and her request to speak is not, she doesn't have to sit through six hearings.
Okay,
I agree.
thank you. I don't have a lot to add. I spent about a week and a half at home sick, and it's kind of a rough holiday for me, but we will close our regular meeting and have a call to the public from Brianna DeRusha.
Matheson Music Foundation, they've got coming up in February their annual event, which I'm excited about. Thank you very much. And by the way, gentlemen, last year we did support it with a community-based organization allocation of funding. So we were supporters of last year's great event, and they're building even bigger and better.
Well, thank you so much for having me. My name is Brianna DeRusha with the Matheson Music Foundation. I'm the executive director. So today we are proposing a request from the board to support the Matheson Music Festival. So for the last 47 years, it's been run as a fiddle contest. And what we've learned over the last 11 years is that the trend for fiddle contests has kind of gone down, and what's grown is music festivals. We wanted to pay tribute to some of the previous organizers, Beth Cox, Tommy Molyneux, and Kim and Judy Cantrell, who were instrumental in building this music legacy here in the Gila Valley. We used to have hundreds of RVs and hundreds of people coming from across the United States to visit this event right here in Graham County. Graham County's been a music hub for decades, and we want to continue that legacy with this music festival that we're designing. We've hired 10 different bands coming from Alaska, California, Arkansas, Texas, Tennessee, and Colorado with over 40 musicians. One of our highlight bands that's coming is a group called Jam Pack. They're coming up from Chandler area. They help promote music education for students, just like our organization does. And they're going to be bringing about 25 kids that all play a variety of stringed instruments like banjo and mandolin and guitar. And it's a bunch of fun. We're really excited to have them coming this year. So you'll see in our letter that there's a bunch of fun activities. We've also got the support from SECUS this year. They're going to be hosting a cornhole tournament during the event. We have a traditional square dance going on, which is going to be a blast. What we're requesting from the county is a financial donation of $500 to help cover essential expenses for this year's event. In addition, we asked the board to earmark in next year's budget to support the 2026 Matheson Music Festival to the amount that you guys see fit that would help support our event to grow. Our other ask is a reduction in the fairground rental fees. The total amount to rent out the agriculture building, use the concession stand, tables and chairs, and the stage was $2,225. We're asking that to be reduced to $1,000. We presently have a $500 deposit on file, and we'd like to roll that over into the 2026 event year as well, just to hold our space. We really enjoy using the fairgrounds. It's a wonderful location. You guys have done wonderful modifications, including cementing in the second half of the ag building. We're really excited to utilize that space. And this would make you a $1,725 sponsor of the event. And it would also, we would also be utilizing giving you the RV overnight fees, which is $25 a night for our patrons that come in from out of town. This whole event, it helps to boost local tourism. People will come in, spend money at our businesses, use our hotels and restaurants. And you know, music is a universal language that brings people together and helps to create shared experiences that enrich our lives. And I think we all know the power of music and the effect that it has on our energy and our joy. And so we're really looking forward to bringing everyone together for this event this year. And again, the event is February 14th through the 16th, so it's coming up next month. We got about 5 weeks to go. And like I said, we're really excited to have so many people coming in from out of town. We've got, 40 plus musicians alone just to put on the show. So it'll be 3 days of live music and entertainment. and it's open to everyone. Any skill level of musician is welcome. We'll be hosting workshops. We got a sponsorship from the United Way to host our workshop stage. So all these professional musicians coming in will also be educators. And there will be jamming tents where students and anyone of any age that wants to pick up an instrument and learn will have that opportunity there.
Great. Well, thank you for coming, and sounds like a great event. I've never been to it. I'm sure my niece has been to it, Zaylee Windsor.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Somebody told me one time, if you go to bed with a song in your heart, you'll wake up with a smile on your face. So,
That's beautiful.
Either of you have anything to add?
Is this mostly just folk music, folk-based music, kind of?
So traditionally, it was an old-time fiddle contest. What we're doing is opening it up to all acoustic stringed instruments. So we'll cover bluegrass, country, folk, Americana, and gospel. So Sunday morning, we do a fun gospel sing. The Easterners and old-time fiddlers are going to come and keep that tradition alive. And yeah, so we hope to invite people from all genres.
Very nice.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and call to the public, we're not supposed to dialogue, so we're limited, otherwise
Okay.
we chat a lot, and so we're not giving you the cold shoulder. That's just a protocol.
Didn't
But
think
thank
that
you.
at all. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, we now have our public hearing. I'll turn the time over to Mr. McGoy from Planning and Zoning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
We'll start out with a road name request, and then we'll get into the weeds. Our first application is a request to name a private drive Markham Trail. This would be a couple 100 feet east of Markham Wash, where it crosses Safford or Bryce Eden Road. And this is simply for a family to build a few houses in there and have addresses. And I don't know if there's anybody here that wants to speak to it, but now would be the time. You guys have any questions for me?
Chairman Mack, just a comment, and that is I saw there was several iterations back and forth with GIS and with our communications to make sure that we didn't have a conflicting name. And so I appreciate that. I think Markham Trail was added as one of the last options, but that seems to be very appropriate. And if that's what they'll allow going forward, I think that's good work.
Yeah, I think GIS or 911 had conflict with the first 4 or 5 requests. Some of them already existed. Some of them sounded too much like something else. So this works for us, though.
Great. Supervisor Howard?
Nothing.
Motion?
I'd go ahead and move then if that we go ahead and accept the request for the renaming, and I'm looking for the road name request from Carmine Russo for Markham Wash.
I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Actually, Chairman, I'm sorry. It's Markham Trail, which is near Markham Wash, so it's going to be the motion. I'll amend a motion. The proposed name is Markham Trail, and I move that we adopt that.
Okay, and I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, guys. You've now arrived at page 3. You're moving right along. Our next is a zone change request, REZ 918-24. Parcel is 10620-0306B. It's a half acre. That's not correct. Wait, yeah, it is. The request is made to rezone from single-family residential zone to residential multifamily. This is a parcel out surrounded by Thunderbird Hills that Jimmy Meredith had applied for and dropped and applied for and dropped and changed his mind 3 times. And the buyers, the current owners, thought that this was already zoned multifamily like the lot next door that they bought at the same time. That was not the case, so they're trying to get it rezoned similar to next door so they can build another duplex like the one next door. And if you have any questions, or if anybody has, I don't see anybody that wants to speak to it, but
No opposition.
no, we heard no opposition.
Right.
And the commission voted unanimous to send you a favorable recommendation.
Okay. Supervisor David?
Chairman, typically it seems like a duplex on less than half an acre would be a real problem, and they still have to work out their septic because they do have a list that they have a domestic well on the property, although they are also receiving city water. But a couple comments: the fact that this duplex is right next door, adjacent. It is right on the access to an immediate access to a road, and then some of the lots that are in the vicinity are 0.2 and 0.3 acres. So it doesn't seem like, from a density perspective, that we're doing any harm, and it is kind of addressing the housing need. My other comment is that I'd like in the future for us to consider. I was looking in the under our assessor's office, and it appears that they're delinquent on their first half of taxes for this year, and so I would I'll vote to approve this, but I think in the future I'd like to, if we can, find a way to not hear any, not have any hearings on splits or rezone, not splits. That's already taken care of, but the rezones if they're not current on their taxes. And I know that you have to chase that down and stay current with it. But other than that, their tax status, and it's just one, just for this the first half of the year. I am not opposed to it, but just because of the precedent with the next door and the high density in the area.
Supervisor David, or Howard?
Nothing. Go ahead and make a motion to approve the zoning change on APN 106-20-306B, 0.49 acres from rezone from R&R single family residential zone to RM multifamily residential zone for the purpose of building a duplex.
And I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes.
Thank you. The next one is rezone 916-24, parcel number 103-28021. This is a 4.3 acre parcel. The request is made to rezone from CN Commercial Neighborhood to CM Commercial Manufacturing Zone for the purpose of facilitating the building of a shop to repair copper anodes for Freeport-McMoran. Applicant is Travis Palmer, who has power of attorney for the property owner. Situs address is west side of Highway 191, south of 40th Street. This parcel is something that we kind of messed up on when they originally came in and asked, could we do this here? And I think we told them yes, thinking it was already zoned CM. Supervisor David pointed out that it wasn't, and so the applicant has gone through this 3-month process to get it right so they can carry on with their intended commercial venture here. We heard 0 from the public, and we got a unanimous recommendation to you from the commission.
No comment.
Supervisor David?
It just, this use is consistent with other uses in the area. And so I don't have a problem with that. The zoning is based on them not being noxious odors or sounds, you know, that's just part in our manual. And so I'm sure they'll be compliant with that. So I'm in favor, but I did want to know if we're looking at putting 40th Street through, we'd like to in the future. And since these people are bordering on 40th Street, have they been approached or asked about the possible right-of-way so that we can utilize, you know, we can put 40th through to, if we do that in the future, to the highway?
They have been spoken to about that and are willing to work with us. Our county engineer might have more to say about that, but I think they've pretty well worked out that they are going to, I don't know if they're going to build it or just allow us to use it, or I don't know how that worked out there. But I think they did agree to give at least 50 feet. I think it was more than that, maybe. So I think 60 feet through there, which would be more than their fair share.
Well, that would be great to do that, you know, develop the area, increase our tax base, and then be able to improve our infrastructure. So I'm in favor. I'll make a motion that we, unless you have comments, Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, before we make a motion, give the opportunity for the public if there's anyone here to speak on the hearing.
Is there anybody here to speak on this? Okay.
I'll go ahead and make a motion then that we approve the request to rezone from CN to CM for the parcel 10328-021.
I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes.
Thank you. This next rezone 923-24 is multiple parcels, but out of the 183 acres involved in this family trust, we're only asking to rezone approximately 16 of those acres along Sanchez Road in the 7,000 block. They do own everywhere from, they own the section 7,000 to 8,000. And within that, they are also working with the county engineer to get us right away through there where we already maintain and have built the road, but we don't own it, and they're gonna make that work. But this is an attempt to facilitate the family trust in going along with the will of the original property owner. And since he's passed away, he can't speak to you about it, but this is what his paperwork says he wanted. So that's what we're attempting to do, to get this divided up per the trust. And if any of you would like to speak to that, now's your time. Do you want to say anything?
Nobody from the public.
This is a request to go to multifamily because they have homes too close to each other to have their own lots. So this is gonna just allow what's there to stay there, and they have no immediate plans to grow the place, and if they did, they would come back to us at that point. We're just trying to make legal what they now have.
The commission gave it a favorable recommendation.
Yes, 100%. Unanimous.
Nobody
And
from the public?
Nobody showed up to
Okay.
talk against it.
Supervisor David?
I just would comment, it's a legacy kind of project. I appreciate your efforts to get them, put them in a situation where they're in compliance by virtue of these minor adjustments. Dale and Gail were great farmers, great people. They spiritually and physically nourished our community and took care of us. And this is their land was probably predates our zoning regulations there, acquisition and stewardship. So I would go ahead and make a motion that we approve the request for the rezone for these 3 parcels and 16 acres.
Before I second, I just want to say, I think this is just a request to really help get this in compliance, of course, but also just to be able, the family to be able to settle this estate, which we all know sometimes can get sticky. I echo what Paul said about the Clontz family and the history in this valley and what they've given to us, and I just want to express my gratitude to them and the legacy they have left, so I appreciate that very much, so I'll go ahead and second that motion.
Great, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes.
Thank you. Next is rezone 919-24, parcel 10758-001. This is a huge parcel, but we're only dealing with 10-acre portion of it that's up in the northwest corner of it. This is something we asked for months ago. At the same time you dealt with the Star Barn, we asked them to put their facility into the proper zoning so they can have wedding venue, family reunion venue type stuff out there. They went along with it, and we're now here with a favorable recommendation. There was nobody to send letters to. There's nobody within 300 feet of them. There's probably nobody within 1,000 feet of them, but we got no negative out of anybody. And you got a favorable recommendation from the commission.
Great. Anybody here from the public want to speak on this? Seeing no one, Supervisor Howard?
I just think they're just trying to get in compliance, and I appreciate that part, so I have no opposition to this at all.
Supervisor David?
2 things. One, clarification, and since the legislature is in the process of reducing the commercial property tax rate from 18 to 15%, while the residential taxes are at 18. Wondering if so will they receive the benefit of reduced taxes based on their going from general to commercial?
I don't believe that has any effect on it. The assessor tells me they don't go by our zoning, they go by how it's being used. So I can't answer that. The assessor would have to, but
okay.
I'm pretty sure that this zoning does not change anything tax-wise. It will be based on what the assessor goes out and sees happening there.
Okay. So it's not based on the taxes aren't based on the zoning? It's based on the use.
They use the word zoning, but they don't go by our zoning. They go
Okay.
by something internal in their office.
Okay.
I don't.
Well, thanks for that. And then just a note, I approve the getting them into compliance, but and this will come up on this next request. But our infrastructure for an event facility where you've got people coming and going, we've got a bridge of sorts which was repaired and widened, and it's still 23 foot without any side rails over a canal or any protection. So in essence, we have a 1-lane bridge with no marking and no lighting. And so since we're going to bring them into compliance, we do have a substandard highway. There are other event venues, and they turn off the highway and they're on their own. Here we have some liability because they're people using the county road. And so I'll go ahead and approve this rezone just because it gets them in compliance. So do you want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve parcel number 107-58-001 from general zone to general commercial zone.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
And just to comment on that, I might be wrong, but I don't think any of that is our road.
Actually, we looked on a map and it appears that we go all the way to the cemetery.
I don't know why it doesn't show that it's
If it wasn't our road, why
the
did we?
red line is a named road, but there doesn't show to be a width to it.
I
I'm
looked
not,
on our road list, Michael and Steve, maybe correct me, help me out, but this East Solomon Cemetery Road is on our list. It says from Bowie to the end of the road.
so
So
it's one that we maintain but don't own, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm pretty sure we have no right of way there.
Yeah, no, right of way is a different,
Okay.
different thing. We don't have right of way, but it is a county maintained road.
Okay. And I spoke to them about that because I knew that would come up, and they're only, I don't want to call it a comment or excuse or whatever, but they said, well, being that this is what we're doing, everybody comes in at one time, so it's one way in, and then when it's over, everybody's one way out. It shouldn't be a problem. That was kind of the answer I got, but you're correct in that it's not wide enough to pass on that bridge very, very easily.
Did we vote on that?
No, we're still looking at
We did the first one.
We did
the first one.
Okay,
yeah.
we're
voted on
now
the
we're
first.
talking about the second
We're talking
one now.
about the second
Okay.
one.
Okay.
I got lost on that one.
Go ahead, Steve.
The next one is rezone 920-24. It's the same parcel number. It's just a 15-acre portion of it to the east of the original one. This didn't need to be this big, except that they don't know where they want to put it yet. So their real ask is they want to be able for somebody who's having a wedding or something out there that comes in and decorates to spend the night and make sure their decorations stay where they put them. Spend the night, and then after the function is over, they pull out. I told them, well, we don't really have a way to do that. You could give them some kind of a special use within the area, but their intention is just to build bathrooms for the facility and put in a septic system, and then make it where 2 or 3, I think their words were up to 5 RVs could use that septic system, and the bathrooms for the wedding venue would use the same septic system. The fact that it turned into 15 acres was basically because that was a easy to write legal without using a surveyor. I think the truth is, and if you knew Lance and Sherry, you'd know that they have no intentions of being the landlords of a travel trailer park, but they did want the ability to allow somebody to spend the night there. And it's kind of where we're at. And you got a, I believe we had 1 negative vote, and his comments were that he felt it was not needed, that people could come and go with an RV and we would never know, and he thought it was not necessary, and so he voted against it. But other than that, the rest of the commission voted in favor of sending you a favorable recommendation.
Okay.
And I think the Laytons would be fine with going with his suggestion of just allowing a special use for up to 5, but that's not what we noticed in the paper, so I think we have to deal with what we have.
So,
Okay. Anybody here from the public to speak on this? Seeing no one?
so let me
Supervisor Howard?
let me get this right. So we don't have to change the zoning for a RV park to a RV park. We could say, all right, we will allow on a conditional, a special use permit for 3 to 5 spots without changing this.
Well, it would have to go back through the same process for a special, for a use permit. It
Okay.
just went through as a rezoning because of that, I
And then
mean,
my next question would be this, we changed the zoning, of course, I know Lance, I'm sure it'll never be an RV park, I'm sure he'll never sell it. But if he did and someone came in, they still have to go back to us and do the process and be in compliance with our ordinances for an RV park,
right,
correct?
they would have to come in with their plan to
Right.
pave and to,
Right.
I mean, you'd have to approve all of their plan before it ever
Right.
happened, so.
This just makes it clean for them to do that
You
without,
would even have to approve the 3 to 5 on a gravel road with
Right.
one septic
okay,
before they could actually do it.
okay.
Yeah, I am in agreement with the Planning and Zoning Commissioner Stearns as far as the infrastructure is not there. And the Laytons, they can give assurances, but if just as Supervisor Howard said, if they were to sell the property, then someone could come in and unless we have some kind of leverage, they could come in and put in a mobile home park and a 15-acre development, and our road, unless we partner with them or unless we just unilaterally decide that we're going to improve that and spend the money out in the, really to benefit one owner of one property owner, as well as the people using the Solomon Cemetery, but they've used that for 100 years, and that's not, usually, funeral processions, you might have 100 cars. So there's a possibility of there's high volumes there that are generated not by them, but by, let's say, funerals. But I am concerned about approving a 15-acre request or 15-acre request. I just think it's too much. I'm all in favor of 3 or 5 spaces, although I would note that most RVs are self-contained, and overnighting in an RV doesn't require you to have a restroom or a dump facility or anything else. They can overnight, and typically for any size, a decent size of RV. So I'm going to vote in as it exists. What we were looking at, 15 acres. I think it's excessive, and I can't support it. But I do support their request. But they'd have to come back at a much smaller scale and some specifics.
The zoning itself requires at least 3 acres, so it would have to go to a use permit to go smaller than that.
Okay, well, 3 acres is a lot more palatable to me than 15.
You made a statement in there that he wanted to build restrooms as well, so that would require septic and leach pads. So that would kind of, I wouldn't say override what you said, but he would be building a septic anyway for the RV that would tie in with the restrooms on that. And in my line of thinking, the changing of the rezone is, no matter what the future brings, we still have to be able to approve that plan and plat. So I don't have a problem with this on that line of thinking. I think he's trying to do the right thing here. Like Paul said, most RVs are self-contained, but he's still going to be building a septic tank for that and capable of holding that. So that would be I would be able to support this for this rezone.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that we're very reluctant to give this zoning out, even though it's needed, but we've declined other requests recently based on similar reasons, and then we're going to approve this. So that's just part of one of my little minor concerns. So,
But if they did decide to put in more RV spots later, we could stipulate that they would have to improve the road. I mean, we don't necessarily have to let them develop all 15 acres, right?
The way the ordinance is written, they would have to pave all the way in and pave the roads in the park unless they came with asking for an exception, at which point you would deal with that there, but I foresee them coming in, asking for an exception to leave the road like it is and only allow for 3 to 5 RVs. And I think their thought process in wanting electricity and sewer there, more electricity than anything, is I don't think they want to get too far from their wedding venue, but they didn't want generators running during their wedding. So
Yeah.
if you're going to keep your air conditioner running so you can go change clothes, being able to plug into a pedestal was, I think, more important to them than the septic system. But they needed that for their guest restrooms anyway, because they're currently renting from Scarborough for porta potties, but I don't think they intend to do that forever.
So I've been to a wedding at Toretto Farms in Wilcox, and it's out of town, similar to this location. Great wedding venue. I think this is a great location for what the Laytons are wanting to do. And at Toretto Farms, you can bring an RV. I don't necessarily remember if they have hookups, but it was nice to be able to take an RV, and it really had no effect on the neighbors. I could support this myself, you know, as long as, if eventually it's going to become more than 3 to 5, I think that they need to do something with the road. They definitely need bathrooms with water, with utilities. So I don't.
Well, even if they do just 3 to 5, you still get to approve their plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're gonna see anything they change.
Okay. Motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the rezone of APN 107-58-001 from general zone to residential manufactured home.
And for the purpose of voting, I'll go ahead and second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
One, I'm opposed.
Motion passes.
Okay. And just for the record, Lance and Sherry intended to be here this morning, but they texted the secretary this morning and said they're both sick, so they apologize for not being here. Our last rezone is 917-24 for parcel number 103-26001 and parcel 103-23021. This is 250 acres combined. A request was made to rezone from general land use to multifamily residential zone for the purpose of facilitating multifamily housing. Applicant is Tri-County Materials. Site address is basically along the 8th Avenue alignment from the mile from 32nd to 40th. Both sides of parts of that. And he's just trying to get that in a position where before there's neighbors to say no, he wants people to know this is going to be apartments or townhouses, or he doesn't have a plan and he doesn't intend to be a builder. His words to me were, I want the best use of the property. I want sewer there because you can't get a septic to work there. And he said, I don't want to build anything, but I do want to sell the materials. So, and he got a favorable recommendation from the commission. It's been said multiple times that he should be annexed and do this inside the city of Safford because he's up against them, but he has no intentions of working with them. He says if they want it after we've built it, that's fine, but he has not got along with them previously and doesn't want to have to, he'd rather work with us than them, so.
Great.
Thank you.
Anybody from the public wish to speak? Okay. This is George Velasquez.
I'll tell you anything
No, he hit it right on the nose. We don't have a complete plan yet. I mean, that's a lot of acres for a small group of us to determine what the future of the city and county would look like, right? So we do want to progress it in that direction and let everybody know that we intend to help the county develop and residential family and help hopefully into that direction of more housing and supporting, you know, all ranges that we can. That's a lot of acreages. In that, you know, that's all the way from, like you said, 32nd to 40th. There's a lot of opportunity there for other future potentials. I don't think you could do 200 acres of just multifamily housing. That's lots and lots of people. So as that progresses in the future, we'll see where that goes. But as of right now, we don't have a master plan. We just want the county and residents to be aware that that's the intent.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for George?
I just think this is an excellent plan for the future growth of the county and the city as well. If they ever annex that, it's a great opportunity for that road to be able to come all the way through to 40th. It's a spot in our county. The property is excellent development property. It's not farmland. It doesn't take away from ag. We're in dire need of housing. It just opens up a lot of opportunity, and I think you're very wise to get this done at this time where there isn't a lot of opposition and a lot of small houses around for people to do it. I just think it's a great idea to get it done, and for the future of our county, it's about time that we have something that we're looking a lot further down the road for future growth, which sometimes in the long past we haven't, and we get these crazy little wildcat subdivisions coming up. So I truly support this. I think it's a great idea.
Supervisor David?
Yeah, I echo and applaud. It's one of the last big, except for farmland, one of the last big adjacent non-agricultural areas, and it's ideal for expansion. My only comment is that if we don't already have an agreement or a gentleman's agreement for right-of-way on 40th, again, I'm going to hit that collateral circulation to see if we can get right-of-way so that we can get 40th through, which would facilitate and make your property even more valuable if you have that instead of having to come all the way through past Joby's.
No, absolutely. For our portions of the property, the 40th, also 8th Avenue, all the way stretching, we would like to stretch it on the county grid line straight to the Discovery Park Road. And I believe we've talked about whatever easement that needs to be, whether it's 100 or 150 feet for future development. We're all for both properties.
Great, perfect.
Chairman?
I've actually rode this property with Peter, George's dad, and yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to expand some multifamily housing. I mean, just amazing opportunities there. And to what Supervisor Howard said, it doesn't take out any more ag land, so I'm definitely in favor of it.
And they also have a piece of RMH there that's already zoned, that's adjacent, that would be also developed once there's water and sewer in there, which.
For a motion?
Yes, sir.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the rezone of 103-26001 and 103-23-021 from general land use zone to RM multifamily residential zone.
And I'm pleased to second Supervisor Howard's motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve, and thank you, George. Appreciate you. All right,
Thank you,
anybody?
Clontz family.
Yeah. Anybody here from the public wish to speak? Nope. Seeing nobody, this meeting will be adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Well, we got through that one.